same thing that Paul is saying, okay? And you know that they call Paul he's the apostle to the Gentiles, right? So if he's the apostle to the Gentiles and he's saying this, wouldn't that be a contradiction? The fact that he's saying that he wished he would have been able to curse himself for the Israelites, and that the promises only pertain to the Israelites, the covenants only pertain to the Israelites. That would be a contradiction. That's because you have to understand the history to understand what Paul was talking about, man. When they speak about Gentiles, they're not speaking about actual heathens, man, when it's talking about salvation. Okay? Not as though the word of the Most High had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel, which are of Israel. Does that mean that they're heathens, that there's heathens amongst Israel? No, man. That means that all Israelites are not really doing the will of the Most High. Okay? Because there's something called the Israel of God. Okay? There's natural Israelites who are born Israelites, all right? But they're going about it as they're acting as heathens, all right? They're dealing with another culture. They're calling themselves by another name. For example, you call yourself in this land, you might call yourself a Canadian, all right? Is that your true nationality? Is there such thing as a nation of Canada, according to the Bible? Absolutely not, man. That's not a nation, okay? That's just what they named the landmass, man, okay? But the Most High, He put a name upon all these different nations. All these different nations have their own particular name, okay? And if you're calling yourself by anything other than the name you were given, all right, then you're going off. You're lost, okay? And you could thank the Edomite for that. You could thank the so-called white man for that, okay? Because he's confused the people, all right? He's taught them nothing but lies for these centuries, and now they believe those lies. But we're coming to destroy those lies and to bring up the truth, all right? Matter of fact, let me get Jeremiah the 17th chapter. Okay, because now it's time to touch on the Gentiles. That's the Spirit working. All right, this is Jeremiah 17. Jeremiah 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. Okay? And he's speaking to Jeremiah, by the way. Okay? And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. All right? So he was telling Jeremiah that eventually you're going to lose your heritage, man. Okay? And you're going to go into captivity into a land which you don't know, which you've never seen before. Okay? And that never happened in the time that I'm reading, man. In this time, Jeremiah was already in the Babylonian captivity. He was already in the Babylonian captivity right here. Okay? He was in that empire, that time period. Okay? So this was talking about a future thing, and he knew that he was an Israelite. Until Jeremiah died, from the time he was born until he died, he always knew that he was an Israelite. Okay? So there was no mix-up there. And that proves the fact that there's such thing as reincarnation, because Jeremiah came back in the reincarnation with a lost heritage, coming back into this time. Okay? Because this was the only captivity that the Israelites didn't know they were Israelites. All right? When you go back to Egypt, we knew we were Israelites. When you go back to Babylon, we knew we were Israelites. You go back to Persia, we knew that we were Israelites. Even in the Greek and the Roman captivity, we knew that we descended from Israel. We kept the laws, statutes, and commandments. Going back to the time of the transatlantic slave trade, all right, which happened during the time of the 1600s, all right, that's when we lost our heritage. That's when we forgot who we were. That's when we were called colored, black, Negro, all right, which are all bywords. Latino, that's a byword, man. Okay? Puerto Rican, that's a byword, all right? That's not your true nationality. That was the nationality that was given to you by the enemy, okay? The Most High already gave us our nationality. He already said who we were. He already said we're Israelites, man, okay? So for you to call yourself by some other name, which most of these people don't know the meaning of the names that they call themselves, all right, is showing the fact that you're lost, that you don't know who you are. You don't know your nationality. Okay? I'm going to read that again. This is Jeremiah 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy heritage, which I gave thee, that I gave thee, excuse me. Okay? And what's part of that heritage? The law, statutes, and commandments. The fact that you're an Israelite. All right? You were supposed to know that. You're supposed to understand that, listen, we're not supposed to eat certain things because it's part of the dietary law. Okay? That we're supposed to observe certain high holy days. Okay? Because it was written for our people to do that. All right? But then when you start to follow these other philosophies, all right, and you start to call yourself black, Jamaican, all right, Haitian, Native American, all right, which was not the title that the Most High gave to you, then that means that you've lost your heritage, man. Okay? And you going back to the time of 1492 when they came over here to the Native Americans, they started to push the fact that they didn't want them to speak their language. They had boarding schools, okay? Because that's the characteristic of these Edomites, man. All right? Going back to the time of the Greeks, they were doing the same thing. They were forcing people to keep their ways of life, all right? To keep their culture, to leave from their own. That's part of the fact. That's how we lost our heritage. That's part of the reason, okay? So coming to this time, all right, the Edomites are doing the same thing, being the same devil that they always were, okay? And they're trying to force other people to keep their way of life, which is the wrong way of life, by the way. Okay? McDonald's is not good for you, man. Okay? GMO foods is not a way to live, man. Okay? But that's what these Edomites promote, man. And they push their philosophies upon all these different nations, act like they're the good guys. When you go back to that place, all those people are dead. They have diseases. Okay? The economy's destroyed. They're stealing natural resources. So we see the characteristics, man, going back to even the time of the Greeks, man, when they started that, man. Okay? But the whole point is that these Edomites like to force people to keep their way. Okay? Let me get that in Maccabees, man. I believe that's first or second Maccabees.
Alors vas-y. Fait que ce côté-là, ouais, la rue est fermée, je sais pas, non?
Oui, c'est ça. Il faut passer ça du même point à l'autre. Et ce côté ici, c'est pour ça. Ce côté ici, la rue, ce côté ici, la baie, ça, c'est à l'autre.
Okay, so this is it. This is when Antiochus, right, which was the Greek, all right, he was the devil. Okay, he came and he forced the Israelites to keep his ways, all right. So this is First Maccabees 1:44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. All right. So in other words, they should keep the Greek philosophy. All right. That's what he was doing. All right. Forcing them to keep their way. The same thing these Edomites do today. That they were doing it when they first came into power as the Greeks. Okay. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festivals and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and the holy people. All right. set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, man. So this devil forced the Israelites, forced our people to sacrifice swine's flesh on the altar, which we know swine is unclean, all right? And it's always been unclean, all right? But he was forcing our people to do that, all right, to keep his ways, to keep the ways of the Edomites, to keep the ways of the Greeks. This is where you get the term of the Gentiles from. This is the beginning of the times of the Gentiles, okay? Because when it speaks about there's no difference between Jew nor Greek, it's talking about the Israelites who call themselves Greeks, man. It's not talking about all the nations, man, okay? Because Israel was scattered amongst these different nations and kept their different ways, all right? Their different cultures, okay? All right? That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness, all right, and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances, all right, because he was trying to make them forget their laws and their ordinances, all right, which was given to them by the Most High, all right. The Most High set up a way for the Israelites to be, and that's why in Deuteronomy it says what? We're above all nations, man. He set the Israelites to be above all nations, all right. Look at our people now. They're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and they're completely destroyed, man. Look at Chicago, man. Look at these different areas, Jamaica, Haiti, all right? It's completely destroyed because we're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave to us, man. All right? Latin America. Look at Nicaragua. Look at Venezuela, man. All right? Nothing but cannibalism going on over there right now, man. Okay? Why? Because they're destroyed for lack of knowledge. They're not coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments. They're worshiping Cesare Borgia. They're worshiping the so-called white Jesus, man, which is a false god. Okay? That's what they're worshiping. They're worshiping Mother Mary, which the scriptures never told you to worship Mary, man. Okay? Let me continue with that, man. To the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. All right?